Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes are absolutely goated. I've been saying this here on the channel to the fan gang for years now, but today I'm here to share some data and some insights as to why these exclusive ETBs are selling out faster than Taylor Swift or Super Bowl tickets. If you're new to the channel, welcome to another episode of Unpacked, where we unpack the latest news, updates, leaks, and rumors in the Pokemon TCG collecting hobby. My name is PokeFang, welcome to the fan gang, and full disclaimer, I am not an investor, I am a collector, and this is not financial advice by any means. We're just here to gawk at some of the most insane numbers I have ever seen in my life to explain what exactly is going on with these Elite Trainer boxes. And before we jump into slides like this one or this one, first I want to just give you a quick breakdown as to what exactly is in a Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box that makes it so valuable. At a $10 premium, you're essentially getting a Elite Trainer box with 2 extra packs as opposed to 9 packs in the standard ETB. That pack value basically averages up to about $50. So you're getting $50 in packs at $4.50 per pack, and the items that are included in it, which is your bulk energies, the damage counters, the sleeves, and the dividers, I gave that an average total of about $4. And then what we're left with is the promos, and that's really what we're here to talk about today in this video is these promos. You're going to get a standard ETB promo and a Pokemon Center exclusive stamped version of that ETB promo, which is why I have been telling people for years on this channel to at least pick up one of these Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs for every single one of these set releases that comes out. And I assigned just some base values to these cards so that we can actually look at the growth of them later on and use that as sort of a baseline for a lot of the numbers that we're going to look at today. $2 is the number that I assigned to the standard promo, and $4 is what I assigned to the Pokemon Center exclusive. These numbers don't matter actually that much, but they're going to help us understand the growth of the cards in the market as time has gone on. So now that we've established basically the fundamental value, let's take a look at what has been happening in the market with these things. Obviously right now things are a little bit crazy. So we have Prismatic Evolutions hype is driving a lot of the increase that we're seeing around the ETBs for that set. We also have Journey Together coming out in, I believe, just a month or two as of recording this. And that is going to be another one that has sold out almost instantly on the Pokemon Center website and is probably going to get scalped heavily on eBay, just like these Prismatic Evolutions ones are. But let's take a look at some of these prices here. $60 is the base value for one of these, at least in US dollars. You guys know what your equivalents are if you're outside of the country watching this, but in USD, $60 is your baseline. And right now, the market price, as of recording this is subject to change, is at about $256 market value. That's on eBay, that's on TCG Player. Those are going to be the two major marketplaces that we look at for prices and based on recent sales. So starting at that $60 price point, which is what I paid for my exclusive ETBs, that has now gone up to $256. If they are available on Pokemon Center website, they'll probably still be $60. I don't think they're going to scalp you there. But if you're looking to get one of these at market price in the secondhand market, you're looking at $256, probably closer to $250, $240, depending on what's going on at the present time. As of recording this, I'd made these slides about 2 days ago, so things are subject to change a little bit, but we should be pretty close. Now, I just want to point out that that is a 326% increase from $60 to $256. I haven't seen that type of market growth in anything else I've ever done, whether that be attempts at day trading or my 401k. Nothing has ever actually given me a 326% return. It's an absolutely ridiculous thing to be able to buy this at $60 and sell it at $256. And that is why so many people are driving into the hobby right now and just trying to flip these things and make their money before the hype is gone. And that's unfortunately why a lot of collectors, like maybe you or I, are having a lot of difficulty finding these products to open for ourselves. As of recording this, I've only opened 2 ETBs. It has been just way too difficult to find these products. And here is why. People are seeing this opportunity. Now, I will not be personally selling any of my Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. I have a nice collection. Some of them are back here in acrylics, and the rest of them I have put away here behind my desk setup. They're not going anywhere. I'm not selling, even at these ridiculously high margins that I could potentially make. I didn't buy them to flip them, so they are going to stay here on my shelf. It would actually eat at me if I were to sell any of these and leave a blank spot in the collection here. As of right now, I have one from each set that has come out. But we're just going to run down the line here and look at how ridiculous some of these numbers are. $60 to $150. That's a 150% increase on Surging Sparks. All the way up to $117 for Stellar Crown. Not even a very popular set. That is a 95% increase. Same goes for Shrouded Fable. Also not a very popular set. Also very recent and still very easy to get. That one's up 13%. Not terrible. I don't know about you, but my 401k only went up about 10% last year. 90%. 50% increase on Twilight Masquerade. Those are currently going for around $90. And then we have a 67% increase for Temporal Forces ETBs, which are currently going for around $100 each. Now let's look at the comparison between the Pokemon Center exclusives and the regular standard ETBs that you would buy in the store. Now standard ETBs do have a different baseline here. We're looking at $50 for a standard ETB, but not terrible growth in some of the more recent sets. 124%, that's at $112 for the Prismatic Evolutions. I mean, it's not $326 and $256, but a 112 and 124 increase is really not bad at all. 60% gain on Surging Sparks, also not too bad for the standard ETB, but still nothing compared to that 150% in the Pokemon Center exclusives. There's actually no gain whatsoever. It's pretty much net neutral. $50 to $50 on the Stellar Crown ETBs. Like I said, these not a super popular set. Same goes for Shrouded Fable. Actually, a loss on this one right now, with the MSRP being $50, and they're currently going for around $39 or $38 in the market. So that is a 22% loss on Shrouded Fable ETBs for the time being. Like I said, guys, I am reporting on these numbers, but I also understand how this market works, and I understand that all of these numbers are temporary, and they don't become realized until you actually buy or sell yourself in or out of the market. We have a measly little 10% gain for Twilight Masquerade, which is honestly a very underrated set. I do think it's gotten a lot of hype more recently, but when it first came out, nobody was really interested in it, and I'm very intrigued by the Greninja special illustration rare that is in that set. But 10% increase from 50 to 55. We have again a net neutral $50 to $50 for Temporal Forces. So we know that there's a lot of hype going on right now, and that could be driving a lot of the increase in prices that we're seeing with some of the more recent sets. But let's take a look at some of the earlier sets when Scarlet and Violet was not as popular. Back to the Pokemon Center exclusives at that $60 baseline price point. We have $60 to $150 as a 150% increase for the Pokemon Center ETB for Paldean Fates. Very interesting set because I do think people moved on from it really quickly and were not as impressed with it as they were with Hidden Fates or Shining Fates. However, it is a very difficult set to master because of all the baby shinies, and I was expecting to see a lot more of it get printed, kind of like how we had with Shining Fates, but as of right now, I haven't seen any new Paldean Fates products enter the market as of recently, so time will tell what happens with this one, but that's 150% gain right there. 60 to 85 on the Paradox Rift ETBs, a 41% increase. And now we have one of the ones that's most interesting, which is the $60 to $348, 480% increase on the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer Box for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet 151. This is the special set that features all of the Kanto Generation 1 Pokemon. Everybody absolutely loves this set, and I kind of knew that this one was going to happen because the price of the exclusive promo in there, that's Snorlax, it started to skyrocket very, very early, and we're going to take a look at all of the exclusive stamped promos and how they're doing in the market in just a bit. And then we have Obsidian Flames, which was not a very popular set when it first came out. It was a pretty small set. Definitely felt like Charizard audience pandering a little bit, doing some fan service for the Charizard fans out there. I personally had a lot of fun opening this set. It's got some great artworks in it, but it is small and it is actually pretty easy to pull some of the chase cards in it. But even a set like Obsidian Flames is at $264, which blows my mind. A market price at a 340% increase. Same goes for Paldea Evolved. Not super popular when it first came out because Scarlet and Violet just wasn't very popular when it first came out after people, came off the hype of Sword and Shield. A lot of people felt like the new Scarlet and Violet era was a little bit kiddish, which I'll admit that it is a little bit kiddish, but it's ramping up and it has been a lot of fun regardless. But $250 market price from $60 MSRP is a 316% increase, which is absolutely absurd. And now we're at Scarlet and Violet base set, which had actually two ETBs from $60 MSRP to $130 for the Charizard ETB and up to $160 for the Miraidon ETB. So that's 116% growth on the Charizard and 167% on the Miraidon box. So these are the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs for the first part of the Scarlet and Violet era. And I want you to take a mental snapshot of some of these numbers: 150, 41, 480, 340%, 316, 116, and 167. And now let's take a look at the standard ETBs for the exact same expansions. And the first thing you're going to notice is that the standard ETBs for Charizard and Raritan are actually at a loss right now with $50 MSRP for standard ETBs, down 12% to $44 and down 4% for the Raritan at $48. The rest of the set is actually still doing pretty well, especially 151. Still not the gains that you saw on the last slide for the Pokemon Center exclusives, but with that $50 baseline, we're seeing now $92 for the Paldean Fates at an 84% increase, $87 or the 74% increase for Paradox Rift, $159 from $50 for the Pokemon 151 standard ETBs, which is an absurd 218% growth. Nothing to be embarrassed about there. $50 to $68 for Obsidian Flames. Like I said, not one of the most popular sets, but that's still a 30% increase over its MSRP. And if I didn't mention it before, if you're new to the hobby, most of these boxes when they first come out are available at below MSRP. Market price does determine the price of these boxes most of the time if you're getting them out of the market and not out of a major retailer. So these Obsidian Flames boxes were going as low as $30, even at places like GameStop. Just recently, within the last few months, I think, Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flames were available at buy one, get one free from GameStop for like a day or two, which would have meant that you could pick these up for $25 each if you were to buy two of them, which is absolutely absurd and very different times than what we're in right now, but only an $8 increase on Paldea Evolved, so from 50 to 58 is a 16% increase. And we already talked about Scarlet and Violet base. Now remember at the beginning when I mentioned that the sealed ETBs have sort of two things driving them, and one of those things being obviously the market price and the demand to have a sealed box in your collection, but also the promos inside that come with that Pokemon Center exclusive stamp. Now let's look at some of the more absurd slides that I'm going to show you today, starting with the ridiculous market increases of the Pokemon Center exclusive stamped promos. Now, I had a really difficult time putting this slide together because none of these numbers looked real to me. I constantly had to recheck my math, but hopefully all of these are as accurate as possible. Right now, obviously, all that hype going on with Prismatic Evolutions, we saw an increase from about $4 fundamental value of that promo to $116 in the market right now, as of when I put the slide together, which is an absolutely phenomenal 2,800% increase. This is the climax of the video here, right, guys? This is the most insane increase of any market prices that I have ever seen in my life outside of the Pokemon hobby. And this is what's driving a lot of the chaos that we're seeing right now and why it's so difficult to get Pokemon Center exclusive, despite the fact that I've been saying for years you need to pick these things up and them being very readily available. It seems like a lot of other people are starting to catch on. But the Magneton promo from Surging Sparks, that is a 1,600% increase from $4 to $68. The Noctowl from, I believe that is Stellar Crown, from $4 to $41, a 925% increase. Now these are little numbers, right? Like we're looking at $4 to $41. It doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but if this card first came out and was on the market and nobody wanted it and it was sitting there for $4, if you were able to scoop up, 10, 20, 30 of them, do the math on that. It's absolutely insane. A 925% increase. The Pecharunt, nobody wanted this one from Shrouded Fable, 525% increase from $4 to $25. Teal Mask Ogerpon, very similar, $4 to $24 at a 500% increase. Temporal Forces, we have the Fluttermane and the Iron Thorns with a 725 and 675% increases. These numbers are so big they almost don't even seem real or significant. It's like hard to grasp how big of a difference that is. And we have the Mimikyu down here at the market price at $46, which is a 1,050% increase, and that is from the, I believe, Paldean Fates ETBs, the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. I wasn't able to get the picture of the stamped card for all of these. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult to find the scanned photos of those cards specifically, but that's why I have it listed up here on the top. Hopefully that helps give you a point of reference. Then we have the Iron Bundle and Screamtail, $29 and $32, very similar, 625 and 700% gains. Absolutely ridiculous for promos on ETBs that people didn't even really want at the time. Those were Paradox Rift. And then we have the Snorlax promo from 151. Absolutely absurd growth on this card. I can't even fathom it because I made this slide months ago, and I had to go through just the other day and check all of these prices and update all of them, make sure that they were at least more up to date. And I believe when I updated the Snorlax, it was only like $40 or $50. So from $4 to $50 is still over a 1,000% increase. But now it's at 3,475% increase on that promo. That is absolutely ridiculous. Charmander, the promo from, I believe, Obsidian Flames, $4 to $131, 3,175. That's a very big deal card because that promo actually is part of a Kanto starter artwork set that was available in a Japanese box that got split up amongst different sets here when we got it in English. So the only way to get that card is in the Obsidian Flames ETB. And of course, if you're going to want to have one of them, you're going to want to have the better one. That's going to be the one with the Pokemon Center exclusive stamp. That is part of what's driving the value of that one. And then we have the Pikachu that we got as an ETB promo for Paldea Evolved. I think that's the same Pikachu promo that they got in, I believe, Japan and maybe China as part of buying the physical copy of Scarlet and Violet for Switch, but we got it as an ETB promo. So from $4 to $104, that's a 2,500% increase. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we finally have the Charizard and Miraidon, which go with their corresponding ETBs for the base set of Scarlet and Violet from $4 to $58 and $72. I don't know why Charizard is always valued slightly lower. That is the one that I went with. I played Scarlet first before picking up Violet. You would think I'd pick Violet with all the purple, but there's always one, right? Sword Shield, we had Zamazenta, didn't get as much love as Zacian. So, but still a 1,350% increase for the Charizard promo and a 1,700% increase for the Miraidon. These numbers are so ridiculous. Again, I want you to take a mental note of all of these numbers here. Take a quick little snapshot. Most of them are in the 500% to several thousand% increase for these Pokemon Center exclusives. And now let's take a look at the regular ETBs that you only get in the standard version. I just want to remind you, part of what makes these Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs so special is A, you can only get them from Pokemon Center. They're a limited run, typically a lot more limited than standard ETBs. So if you only got the regular version of the promos, you're looking at a much different picture here, right? We still have some that have some decent gains from $2 to $10, 400% increase for the Eevee from Prismatic Evolutions. Magneton, $2 to $5, not insane, 150% growth. But when you're talking about numbers that small, it's really not that big of a deal, nothing to write home about. Noctowl from Stellar Crown, 0% increase, that's a net neutral. And then we have a 50% loss on the Pecharunt, the Teal Mask Ogerpon, and the Fluttermane and Iron Thorns, those being from Shrouded Fable, Twilight Masquerade, and I believe Temporal Forces. All went from $2 to $1, probably going to average around $1 to $2 moving forward. Slight 50% gain on the regular standard ETB Mimikyu promo. Pretty much break even on the Paradox Rift Iron Bundle and Screamtail. Well, now we're looking at the Snorlax from 151, which I think had the biggest gains out of the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. This went from $2 to $5 in the market, 150% gain. But when you compare that regular promo to the one with the exclusive stamp on it, it's a very, very different story. I mean, it's a very different story for all of these cards, but especially that one, with them both being roughly the same price, you know, within a few dollars, coming out of the ETBs fresh at MSRP. That is absolutely ridiculous, the difference. And then we have that Charmander. Again, I mentioned that one earlier. There's a little bit of a completionist agenda happening there, where people are trying to complete the set of the artworks from the other promos that ended up coming out as regular illustration rares in later sets. But from $2 to $15, a 650% increase. Still very, very good. Again, 3,175% increase for the Pokemon Center exclusive stamped version, but still not bad at 650% increase. $2 to $4, roughly doubling up on the Paldea Evolved promo, the Pikachu at 100% gains, and pretty much breaking even at $2 for the Charizard and Miraidon from Scarlet and Violet base. That is why a lot of these Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes are selling out as fast as they are, and why they're being so heavily scalped in the market right now. It is unfortunate that it is happening. This sort of happens in cycles in the hobby where, you know, hype happens for whatever reason, people come rushing in and they start buying up all of the supply, and these things become very difficult to buy. So I just want to remind you that these slides take me hours to put together. In this case, probably a couple of days. Please leave a like if you found this video valuable by any means. Share it with a friend if you found it interesting. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss future episodes of Unpacked. Catch you in the next one. Peace.